Good afternoon, everyone. My thesis is on how governments budget. I am looking at two cases, New Zealand and Canada. Why is this important? Well, first off, national budgets are huge. In 2019 alone, the public expenses for New Zealand were $87.3 billion, and in Canada, they were $355.6 billion. With so much money at stake that affects millions, if not billions of people, it is increasingly important that public budgets are done well. First off, here's a quick overview of the components of public budgets. I will use the example of well-being to simplify. It includes inputs, which are the money going into the system, such as parks, recreation, healthcare providers. They include activities such as mental health services, programs for the environment, or anything that would lead to the output of thriving people. The overarching outcome is broad. It can be health, happiness, or well-being. In governments, this process often begins on the left-hand side where the inputs are found, rather than on the right outcome side. Starting with the outcome flips the process backwards. Many reforms have been made to achieve this around the world, but without much success. This makes New Zealand a very interesting case. In 2019, they released a budget focused solely on the outcome of well-being. It began the budget process with an outcome, or a target, rather than what had been spent in the previous year. How can we better understand what happened? Speak to the people who made it happen. I am interviewing 3 groups of budget actors to find out what roles they played. These include the politicians who were elected to achieve outcomes, guardians from the Treasury Board who crunched the numbers, and spenders from various ministries who deliver public services and programs. My research questions come from the policy cycle. Why was it that New Zealand budget actors were able to both set the agenda for a well-being policy and then implement it? In the first part of my thesis, I wanted to know how budgets were made. I analyzed data from interviews with budget actors from Canada. And what I found, and what our research team suspected, is that budgeting is almost entirely incremental, or done on a step-by-step basis from the input side of the equation. This is why New Zealand's case is so fascinating. Even with the strong pull to be incremental and to only take the stairs step by step, they began with the target that they wanted to achieve, well-being. It is my intention that these case studies will provide lessons for other countries to follow. It is increasingly important today as economies lose steam, financial resources are strained, and global leaders face the policy implications of COVID-19 for years to come. The time is now for governments to start with outcomes like well-being.